Hello and welcome to myfinanceteacher.org. Let's talk about energy today, specifically crude oil, natural gas and uranium. A brief TLDR in one sentence: they all have either started a run-up into a new cycle or are about to do so. Let's start with crude oil in more detail. Crude oil cycles last for around 5 months or 158 days on average. Of course, cycles can shorten or stretch anywhere from 104 days to 233 days in the last decade or so, since 2017. Cycle lows are usually signaled by the price staying under the 50 DMA for a while and RSI declining significantly, well over 20 points, often over 30 points, and slicing down through the neutral level. And another common signal of a cycle low is price poking repeatedly below relatively wide Bollinger Bands. The recent crude oil low was 131 days into the cycle, which is just a little shorter than the average 5 months. We've seen the price drop significantly below the 50 DMA, while RSI has dropped a lot as well, suggesting that the cycle low is near, although we haven't seen a repeated poke below the Bollinger Bands yet. Overall, I see a couple of scenarios for crude oil. I think that there is a pretty good chance that the cycle low is in over here on the 18th of August. This scenario implies that crude oil has already started a new rally into a new cycle. I would give this scenario, say, a 60% chance. There is, however, a pretty good chance, at least 40% chance, that crude oil dips once more to poke below the Bollinger Bands before starting a new cycle rally in earnest. This is especially likely if the stock market corrects from the recent highs. I would give this scenario, as I've just mentioned, perhaps around 40%. Looking at market sentiment, or the optimism index, it does support the first, or the bullish scenario for crude oil. We see that the market sentiment is down at the floor near this green level over here at around the level of 30. Remember the saying, buy when the blood is on the streets? Well, the proverbial trader's blood has nearly hit the streets, although the sentiment can still drop a little bit lower. Moving on to natural gas, the last time we discussed it was all the way back in mid-May, when I expected one of these two scenarios. One of them, by the way, has predicted the price movement pretty well. At the moment, though, natural gas price chart is a bit dangerous, as we haven't seen a sign of a starting recovery yet. While gas price is right now at about $2.8, the next support zone is at around $2.7, based on some of the previous historic lows, and also based on the fib extension of the previous cycle decline. We see that $2.7 coincides pretty closely with that 79% fib extension of that previous cycle decline. These fib extension numbers, those are pretty commonly achieved, and they often do act as either support or resistance level. As for natural gas cycles, they usually last for around 4 months. Of course, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. The current ongoing cycle is 123 days old, so I would expect a buying opportunity perhaps sometime soon. As for the market sentiment on natural gas, it has dropped significantly in the last couple of months, but it's not all the way down at the floor yet, so perhaps some patience can help here while we're waiting to see if the support level around $2.7 does actually hold. And lastly, moving on to uranium, again, our expectation from all the way back in mid-May has played out pretty well. Uranium cycles usually last for over 5 months, or an average of 162 days over the last nearly decade, while the recent low was a little too early, only 128 days into the cycle. I think there is a pretty good chance that a new cycle has started recently, again suggesting a continuation of the ongoing rally. But looking historically at uranium prices, new cycles do like to give us a repeated opportunity. New cycles do like to retest the recent lows before pushing higher in earnest. And if this decline does create a new low, as for crude oil, the scenarios are somewhat similar. Even if the price drops into a truly recognizable cycle low, a new cycle rally would follow soon after. In the longer term, of course, talking far beyond the new upcoming cycle, I am very optimistic on uranium. For much more details, see our regular uranium report at myfinanceteacher.org. In fact, you tell me, what do you think happens to uranium price as the AI race accelerates over the next few years? Share your views down in the comments below. Have a marvelous Monday. Bye bye.